This is Alvaro Bautista. Now, Bautista's one of 4 riders not to have set a lap as yet. Obviously, we saw what happened to Andrea Locatelli and then Garrett Gerloff with their crashes at turn 3. Jari Montella is the other rider not yet to have set a lap time.
Just for Bautista as well, he had technical problems this morning, lost out running in the warm-up session as well.
Toprak Razgatlioglu on to start his flying lap. Alvaro Bautista, some 15 seconds up the road from him, will be the first rider to set a flying lap in this second stint.
Yeah, and you can see at the back of this group, looks like Toprak's just sat up now as well on this lap, so we'll see what the reason for that is. Bulika's just left the pits in front of him, and that's why Toprak's shaking his head. But Sergio Garcia behind the BMW riders, and he was in prime position there to be able to spring a bit of a surprise.
Alvaro Bautista, we pick up here, 4th in the championship, but an average P8 on the grid. Superpole has been a real weakness for Bautista. He's only had 1 front row start in 20 rounds this season and last, and Magny-Cours is the scene of some of his worst Superpole results. He was 14th in 2019, the only time he qualified out of the top 10 in what was his first WorldSBK season, 17th in 2020 with Honda and again last year. But in his 2 title-winning seasons, he was 4th on the grid 2022, 2nd in 2023. So he can get around this place, but only when he's really at one with the bike, and that hasn't been the case this year so far.
Yeah, the changes to the bike for this year have really hurt him. It's very clear for all the success that he's had. You can see there again, just losing the rear end on the way into turn 15. He runs in wide. You lose a lot of time because you're then pushed offline for the next part of the corner as well. So ended up losing 0.8 of a second there just with that one mistake down in towards turn 15.
First flying lap of the session for Alvaro Bautista comes in, and it's only 14th place for him, a 1.3 seconds from your current leader, Nicolo Bulliga. Xavi Vierge at the halfway mark, just 1 place ahead of Bautista at the moment, but he's in line for a big improvement. He's only 0.2 of a second down on top spot, so a chance for him to make major progress. Likewise, Remy Gardner only 0.2 down after the second sector. He's behind Vierge on track. And Jari Montella just completing his installation lap and looking to make progress. Obviously hasn't yet set a lap time, same as Bautista before him, who has now moved up into 14th place. We catch up now with Xavi Vierge. And Vierge, who was 6th on the grid here at the 2024 French round. It was his best Superpole result of last season, went on to be his best scoring round of the year as well. Sam Lowes crosses the line, it's 3rd place for him. He's made up some good time on that lap, 0.3 of a second down on Bulliga. Relegates Razgatlioglu to the 2nd row of the grid. Vierge crosses the line in P7. Remy Gardner coming through will displace him. He's up into 6th place. 2 minutes to go in Superpole. Bulliga leads and is on a faster lap still, ahead of Alex Lowes in 2nd, Sam Lowes in 3rd, and Toprak Razgatlioglu, who's made up 0.2 of a second in the 2nd sector of his 2nd flying lap in this final stint.
And Toprak had to make up that time because Bulliga's a lot faster in the 1st sector than everyone else, a couple of tenths of a second faster than Toprak on this lap.
And watch out for Andrea Iannone as well, as we see Alvaro Bautista coming through the final sector. Where does Bautista land? It's only 13th place. This is not going at all as planned for Alvaro Bautista, but it is going exactly as per the script for Toprak Razgatlioglu. He makes his way through the final 2 turns. He's 0.4 of a second up after 3 completed sectors, and it's a 1 minute 35 flat. Nicolo Bulliga crosses the line behind him on track, only 0.1 of a second down, and another great showdown between our 2 title contenders. Looks like it might well end with Razgatlioglu on top with a 1 minute 35.018, 0.1 of a second ahead of Nicolo Bulliga. Alex Lowes 3rd, 0.4 of a second down. Andrea Iannone moves himself up onto the 2nd row of the grid in 4th. Sam Lowes with a chance to improve. He's currently in 6th place, 0.1 of a second down on top spot after 3 completed sectors, but that's a chance to move himself up onto the front row of the grid here. Sam Lowes, who is the only man really who's been able to go toe-to-toe consistently with Razgatlioglu and Bulliga, and he has now joined them on the front row of the grid. With less than a minute remaining, he moves into 3rd.
Yeah, some really good performances at the end of this session. The likes of Jari Montella has put himself up there in the 2nd row with a great effort from him on the Barney bike. We saw Sam come through that final sector, and again, you're having to really muscle yourself over those curves. He's got that bike working quite well in that final sector. Toprak's still a little bit slower than Bulliga in the final sector, but he's got the pace everywhere else. He's up by another 1/10 of a second halfway around this lap, trying to get down to be the first rider into the 34s ever here at Magny.
Absolutely incredible from Toprak Razgatlioglu. He has certainly been our top qualifier this season. He's the leader of the Superpole Award and hasn't qualified off the front row this season, either in Superpole or the Superpole race. 10 consecutive front row starts to his name. The checkered flag falls in Superpole. Razgatlioglu with a chance to become the first rider into the 1 minute 34s on a superbike here in Magny-Cours, and he's done so. A brilliant final sector, and it's a 1 minute 34.930, and Razgatlioglu takes pole position by a 0.2 of a second margin ahead of title rival Nicolo Bulliger.
Toprak just laying it down there. We're half a second faster than we ever saw in a Superpole session. Shows just how impressive the packages are for these riders. Now, obviously, last year in wet conditions meant we didn't get something reflective in that session, but 34.9 from Toprak. We knew it was going to be fast. Bulliger was underneath lap record pace in yesterday's sessions, but to see the top 4 riders under what had been the lap record coming into this weekend, that's impressive.
Lots to unpick in that session in the end, as we see Sam Lowes, who's finished it in 3rd position. I don't think there's any great surprise about your top 3, because Razgatlioglu's been your regular pole man of late. That'll be 3 in a row for him. Nicolo Bulliger is very rarely off the front row. Hungarian round last time out was the only exception this season. And Sam Lowes has been really consistent in terms of his Superpole performances as well. Pole sitter, of course, at the Dutch round, beat Nicolo Bulliger at the Italian round, 2nd on the grid again last time out in Hungary. So for Sam Lowes, that's 4 front row starts in the last 7 rounds, and once again proving his consistency in 2025.
Yeah, we've seen it time and again from Sam, and he's done his long run pace as well during free practice, so he'll feel pretty confident going into the race that he's going to be able to fight for the podium. And when you speak to him, that's what he's talking about. He wants to be able to fight for podiums. He wants to challenge for a race win between now and the end of the season. It's going to be tough to do it here at Magny, but you look at his past form at places like Jerez or Aragon in his Grand Prix career, and you know he's going to be there or thereabouts. But he keeps knocking on the door, and another front row start. But Toprak's performance in this session, that's once again just that big exclamation mark on what he's able to do in a Superpole session.
And it's a statement performance, not least because Toprak's first stint didn't go to plan. You know, when he was building up for that final stint, he was down in 4th place, actually.
Yeah, well, he had made that mistake on his first stint. We had the yellow flag, so a little bit of circumstances for him. But after he has to bail on the first lap when Bulliger and Iannone come out of the pits in front of him, he's still able to collect himself, give himself the chance to be able to go out there and set his fast times. What's interesting in a session like this is to see what the other riders are able to do and when they set their lap times. You can see Michael van der Mark there just coming into the pits alongside Toprak. Because they were out together, van der Mark set his time as one of the first riders to set a lap time during the session, and that was good enough for him to be able to put himself on the 3rd row of the grid. That's important for him and for BMW as well, to give themselves the chance of a decent result this weekend. But it also shows you that the BMW package is working well.